What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be talking about DMZ a lot, and I need to let you know, if you're mad that they're resetting everything, you're playing this game wrong. Okay, so the first thing you have to understand about DMZ is this isn't normal Call of Duty. You can't just run and gun, go straight into a building, nosedive head first without knowing what you're getting yourself into. As someone who's played Call of Duty religiously for over a decade now, you need to understand something. This is an extraction shooter. This isn't Call of Duty multiplayer. This isn't Warzone. You have to play this game differently, or you will not have fun. You will not win, you will not exfil consistently, and you're gonna have just a fucking terrible time. Now, with Season 1, when it came out, and again, this is being called a beta, whatever that fucking means anymore. I mean, Fortnite was in beta for 5 years, but hey, we're just gonna move on with that, right? Season 1, a lot of complaints people had were the enemies were too hard. The missions got too difficult, which that I actually agree with. I think the enemies weren't actually that difficult if you knew how to play the game correctly. If you didn't go in your denied areas, which are supposed to have very difficult enemies anyway, they weren't really hard. A lot of guys a snipe to the chest or head and they're dead. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go to Season 2. Let's see what we're improving with. All right, so the enemy tuning says, in Season 1, the AI and DMZ were challenging, but the ramp up of difficulty was often steep, with some players getting overwhelmed. That's only if you're trash, by the way. I'm just letting you know that. With Season 2, we've introduced a number of balance changes to adjust the types of AI spawning, the number of AI spawning, and the accuracy of AI at range, and much more. Call of Duty, whenever you say we're making a bunch of changes, that lets your community know we did like one thing and we're just gonna bullshit till we figure it out. All of this should provide a challenging but manageable play space. Where have you heard that one before, guys? That still requires player respective enemy combatants in the DMZ. So I think that's actually a really important, I think that's actually a very important balance DMZ has to have. It has to have AI that aren't too overpowered, but are powerful enough to where you can't just run and gun at them. And honestly, if they can find that balance, this game could be amazing. All right, the next thing they talk about in their blog post is the spawn points. We are tuning some of the infill points across Al-Mazrah for improved early match experience based on gameplay data. Starting at a point at which your squad feels isolated or without loot and contact opportunities is not the best experience. Those tweaks should improve spawn points across the map. I 100% agree with that. I should feel like there are people semi near me, but like I'm not gonna die. Honestly, for this, another big thing they could do as far as the PvP specifically is make it to where if you're playing in PvP, or if you're playing with contraband and custom guns, your insured weapons, you should only spawn with other people using their insured weapons. If I go in with like a floor loot AK-74U or Lockman or whatever, I shouldn't have to fight people with a 5 attachment RPK that could melt an entire squad in Warzone in about 3 seconds. It's just like an unfair advantage for the other team. Data and feedback reinforced that the mission difficulty was too aggressive for many players. That's 100% true. Once you got past like 2 and 3, it got ridiculously difficult. And that the demanding scale ultimately made it very challenging to unlock the second insured weapon slot by completing all tier 3 missions in Season 1. Absolutely agree with that. I myself got almost the way through 3 and I just gave up because it wasn't really worth it. We have adjusted the overall scaling of difficulty in missions as the tiers progress. Later missions will still be quite challenging even for the experienced operator, but we believe more straightforward access to an additional insured weapon slot will provide a better path forward for all players. I think that's actually really important. I think getting that second weapon slot makes the game way more fun because you can have 2 games where you can fuck up, honestly, or get trolled. I 100% agree with this, that the later missions should be very difficult. That's why they're later missions. This is not supposed to be something easy to complete. The next thing we're going to go into is the crashes, which I think is actually really important to fix. Because honestly, especially with DMZ, where if you die, you lose everything and there's no way to rejoin, which, guys, Sea of Thieves can do it. Why can't you? We know crashes are especially impactful in DMZ, and if you lose your weapons and contraband weapons as a result. Addressing these crashes is a priority for Season 2, and we are committed to increasing stability. Stay tuned for more specific info on this. I'm just going to decode that for everyone. We don't give a fuck. Get over it is literally what they're telling you. So Sea of Thieves is doing more than Activision. Let that one sink in. All right, the last bit of information we got from the blog post this time was about the locations. With a new exclusion zone coming to Season 2, players will have a third option to choose from when deploying in DMZ. The faction mission refresh will provide new missions that send you across these destinations, including Building 21. We suggest you and your squad gear up for infiltration first. A new area is fucking amazing. I think that's phenomenally good, and they're really trying this time. At least I hope. As far as the wipe, I've seen a lot of people really fucking mad about this. And honestly, this is healthy. Tarkov does this all the time. This is what keeps the game fresh. I personally am very much okay with a seasonal wipe. Every 3 months, you get a wipe. Makes the game fun. I know a lot of players were really mad about this, and honestly, I don't get why. DMZ wipes are good. They're healthy. They keep people from bullying other players in the server. And honestly, it gives you a reason to continue to play the game. So if we're not gonna do this, why are we even playing the game? If we're not doing this to continually do that grind, what's the point? Honestly, I'm super excited for DMZ Season 2, and I'm really excited to see the changes they make. The new zone, I'm kind of thinking it's gonna be the Resurgence map we're getting in Warzone, which could be a lot of fun. And I think having very location-specific missions will be really cool, as long as those aren't really dumb. All right, thank y'all for watching today's video. Don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment, tell me how fucking wrong I am. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all on the next one. Have a great one.